Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the Comic Round. We've made it through this X-Men books. Now it's time to make it through this week's Spider-Man books. Kicking us off, we've got Spider-Man number 56, Legacy issue 950. Meaning, in probably about no more than 2 years' time, we'll be seeing Amazing Spider-Man Legacy issue 1000. So, over the during the Zeb Wells run, Spider-Man has been kind of sort of working with Tombstone. Basically, in a Tombstone manipulates him to do something, and he'll decide to play it up that him and Tombstone are in cahoots. Basically, it's supposed to keep a lid on things, so that the other monsters are gonna think, oh, if I cross Tombstone, I'm gonna I'll have to deal with Spider-Man. So yeah. Anywho, but during the gang war, Tombstone became the new boss of New York. The issue starts off in Mozambique a long time ago, back when Tombstone was simply an enforcer for the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. So they're while they're in the jungle, they spot a lion that has it's killed a cub from a sired by the lion's predecessor. Tombstone thinks that's messed up, and Kingpin points out that it's nature. There is no right or wrong, only power and hunger. Power is protected, or we live in hunger. And Tombstone asks Fisk if he'd kill a kid to stay on top. Fisk says that he'd kill his own if it came to it. But don't let his wife hear him talking like that. And then Kingpin kills the lion. Back in the present, in the West Village, Peter's friend Randy's out of the hospital. He's gonna have to go through physical therapy, and but their visit is cut short because, well, he's got to go to physical therapy. However, Randy's ex-fiancée, current fiancée, Janice Lincoln, is in Randy's apartment, and she asks if he thinks that Peter suspects that they're apparently back together. But Peter's been thinking about loose ends ever since, especially since the Green Goblin came back. He knew it was just a matter of time, and prepared as best he could, and it still came back to bite him, a loose end. But in Harlem, he busts up a weapons sale, basically by Tombstone with White Rabbit and Kareem on the as his faces for it. But Spidey steals the guns and takes the guns and hitches a ride on White Rabbit and Cream's car, or the roof of it, and places a spider tracer on it, which leading Cream to wonder just how he always knows where they'll be, or White Rabbit. But Tombstone is informed of this, and apparently, it's at this rate, every thug in New York is going to think that Tombstone and Spider-Man are a team, and that hopefully there's a plan. But that plan seems to involve Peter Parker. Pete drives by the Daily Bugle the next day, and Robbie wants to ask about how Randy's doing, though Peter initially thinks that Randy's wanting to offer him a job. But his severance package from Alchemax, he can take a little time to get his head together before he dives into something new. And he appreciates the offer, but, you know, Peter's photography skills aren't really in demand anymore. But it wasn't a job offer, so yeah. And Peter wasn't embarrassed at all about that, but and Robbie tells him that apparently he dropped by Randy's and Janice Lincoln was there. Again, loose ends. But Spider-Man catches up with Janice Lincoln, saying that it's time they had a talk, and apparently one of the minor bosses has asked for a meeting with Tombstone, and he intends to choke the life out of Spider-Man with his bare hands to make sure that no one thinks that Spidey and Tombstone are a team. Alphabet City, Peter runs into Randy, and Randy informs him that Spider-Man took Janice, and she's in jail, and wants to know if Peter knew that. However, Tombstone pulls up, wanting to talk to Peter, who hands Randy a card in it, and says to have Randy let his friend know the card where he is, just in case. But Spider starts tingling along the way, and turns out that Tombstone's plan is kill Peter to draw out Spider-Man. That's going to work. And they fight in the limo. Hard to fight in a limo, especially the guy at the side of Tombstone. But Tombstone limo crashes, and Jen Walters and Mayor Luke Cage are there waiting for Tombstone. With Spider-Man showing up at the last minute to to punch Tombstone. So Tombstone gets arrested. And Randy walks in with the courtroom on the trial date, the arraignment. Tombstone's pled not guilty. Of course, the surprise. Janice walks in with him. And oh, yeah. We have a few backup stories. We had a week ago, from the primary story. Remember how Rhino was being talked to doing dating apps? Well, he's on a date. And apparently on the street, She-Hulk and Spider-Man are taking on Thunderbolt, Bulldozer from the Wrecking Crew. But She-Hulk explains that She-Hulk is asked by Peter about how to potentially get in touch with the prosecutor and take care of Tombstone. And she advises a proxy. However, Ned Leeds' hearing is at the courthouse, so Peter makes it in time for the end. But things didn't entirely go right with Peter. The location of the Winkler device was not where he said it was. But Peter catches up with She-Hulk, who does not know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, and informs her that he's the proxy. And so she gets a card from Marina O'Reilly, who's a bulldog. If Spider-Man has a legal ace in the hole that can take Tombstone down, she'll want to hear about it. And he's told to call She-Hulk slightly before, or not to call She-Hulk unless it's serious. And Peter says that she won't hear from him unless Tombstone has his hands around his neck, but she suggests that call a little before, just a little before. Just a little, though. Then we've got another backup story. Peter has dinner with MJ and Paul. And then he has to head out. But the next day, Paul's got says he's got something to do in the Bronx. Talks to the man named Naughton Kale about about Professor Raven, who in an alternate universe was Paul's father. But Kale was a professor, was a scientist working on, or one of the researchers working with Raven, and in both universes actually. But Kale had some health issues, in both universes, though Raven killed Kale in Paul's universe. And Paul does what he can to help Kale financially with his surgeries and whatnot. So, and he tells Kale anything he needs, just call. And there's also a little fun story with Kraven the Hunter reading a Where's Waldo book and Spider-Man interrupting him, and they start to play. So basically, Peter, like, warmer, as Kraven tries to find Waldo. That is where the issue ends. It's a good issue. Yeah, apparently they are Marvel is very clearly building up momentum to Spider-Man number 1000. That's going to be quite the big deal. I think that will be the first of the first Marvel book to reach legacy number 1000. So yeah. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, number 4. Where we left off, Gwen took on Chameleon, and there was an energy blast that happened that apparently was caused by her. And so she's having nightmares. She wakes up from with energy cracking from her eyes. But Silk is there cooking breakfast. Cooking breakfast, I say, because breakfast is on fire. She burned pancakes. But Silk's trying to do what she can to help Gwen, but Gwen's not exactly being forthcoming with information. So, but Chameleon is currently imprisoned by Black Scorpion. He's trying to figure out how he can use or make use of Chameleon and his newly acquired energy absorption abilities. But Chameleon turns into Rhino and escapes. But Gwen is out trying to get at a coffee shop, coffee and a croissant. She's apparently short, but guy's got her covered. And she says that she explains that she's not from around, she's from Canada. But then Scorpion shows up, this is Chameleon, wanting help from Gwen. But Scorpion takes Gwen, and she manages to change into her costume. They fight a bit, and she manages to get things calm down a bit. So after that, Scorpion says that he can't control the power and he needs help. But NYPD's got them on a rooftop, and so Gwen escapes with with Chameleon to help him, and that is where the issue ends. Interesting. It's gonna be. This looks like this year is going to be interesting, to say the least. Moving on though to our last one for the moment, we've got Chasm, Curse of Kaine, number 1. So Chasm is no longer at the living at the Limbo Embassy. I don't think there is a Limbo Embassy anymore. after the Law of X. But the issue opens in Long Island City, Queens. A trio of kids are looking for an underground rave, which is apparently in a condemned subway stop. And they encounter the Freak. The Freak comes after them, and Chasm and Hallows Eve go after the Freak. Hallows Eve puts on the Frankenstein mask to deal with vermin, as well the swarm of vermin and Freak. And Peter shakes down one of the would-be muggies for cashing credit cards. However, someone has popped their mind into Chasm's mind, and this will be an amusing something amusing, since he's close to a tabula rasa in the a blank slate with a costume set. Not far away, though, Kaine is going through the sewers, reflecting on his past, especially his shared past with Ben Reilly, his brother. It seems Kaine gets all the breaks, and, well, Ben just seems to fall further and further. But Kaine comes upon the Freak, kind of seemingly slaughtered, and a bunch of dead vermin, as well as 3 kids hanging from webbing from the ceiling. But the morgue truck gets a spider tracer on it, which Chasm follows, and Ben and Janine are enjoying the evening, but he spaces out for a moment. Elsewhere, Druig of the Eternals has taken over the seems to have taken over Subterranea from the Mole Man. That's who's poking around in Chasm's head. Then Kaine goes back to his apartment, and afterwards, that night, Ben gets up, puts on his costume, seemingly under the control of Druig, and goes to the morgue. He kills 2 of the morgue employees and seems to do some interesting surgery with the Freak. When he returns, though, Janine, he's not sure where he was, and asks Janine what's wrong with him. But the issue ends with Kaine face to face with whatever's been done to the Freak. Interesting premise so far, and yeah, it's funny. I remember when the Clone Saga was beginning. Kaine was, the malformed, somewhat malformed clone that burned people with his touch and was kind of disfigured. And Ben was the one that was able to, took the place of Spider-Man for a while. Weird how the real-time decades following that, their roles have kind of switched. But anyways, that's going to do it for now. Huge shout out to Patreon patron Red Man has a penis. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.